inaabangan, pero minabuti din natin na may hold din itong press conference tungkol naman sa isang umiinit na usapin affecting our non-government organizations o mga NGO. Last week po, November 25, na-file ng Makabayan Coalition sa pangunguna ng Kabataan Party List ang House Resolution 2093. Nais po nitong paimbestigahan ang so-called Project Exit Gray List ng pamahalaan na sa layunin nito na wag nang ma-flag in terms of financial terrorism, naapektuhan ang operations ng mga NGOs na nakabase dito sa Pilipinas. And in particular dun sa House Resolution 2093, kasama natin ang isa sa mga naapektuhan din talaga ang Kaduami o ang Katinulong Dagiti Umili Iti Amyanan People's Partner in Northern Luzon Incorporated. So, ang Kaduami ay isa sa maraming mga NGO sa bansa na ngayon ay kumakaharap hindi lamang ng mga banta, kundi mga concrete forms ng pag-atake sa kanilang mga operations na nakakaapekto dun sa paano sila sana makakatulong pa sa ating mga kababayan na nangangailangan. So, without further ado, after we have viewed the video containing a briefer dun sa issue na kinakaharap na ating mga NGOs, pakinggan po natin mismo galing sa Kaduami. Mauna po muna si Ms. Leonida Tundagi Pangket, Executive Director ng Kaduami at co-convenor ng Defend NGO Northern Luzon.
Thank you po, Congressman Manuel, and thank you for having us, hosting us here. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Ako nga po si Leonida Tundagi Pangket, and I am here to speak. Hilahin ko. And I am here to speak in behalf of the Northern Luzon Defend NGO Alliance, as a co-convener and as the executive director of Kaduami. We were here yesterday in Metro Manila, so we are from Luzon and we are here to file the final rejoinder of affidavits of my colleagues who are being charged with multiple alleged violations of the Terrorism Financing Prevention and Suppression Act of 2012, and the complaints were filed at the Department of Justice by officers and personnel of the PNP CIDG Region 1 against my colleagues Petronil, Guzman, Mia Sapanta, and Lenville Salvador, who is not here with us today. There are many allegations, or there are many development workers who are facing the same or similar situation. But what is unique in these cases is the clear abuse of laws and executive orders. I'd like to draw your attention to a secret document, a memorandum from the PNP CIDG dated October 31, 2024, in which the subject is request for bioprofile of Mia Sapanta. Its reference is Project Exit the Gray List and filed cases on terrorism financing. The recent use of the Terrorism Financing Act against our board members, as well as the use of the secret documents related to the FATF gray list, are blatant attempts to discredit and harass individuals who are dedicated to promoting peace, human rights, and social justice. In yet another secret document of the PNP CIDG Region 1, is a memorandum submitted as annex to the reply affidavit of the complainants from the PNP CIDG to the counter affidavit of Lenville Salvador. This memo, with subject special report, surrender of former CFO member, has Executive Order number 70 as reference, dated and signed in November 15, 2021. It contains in the narrative an order of battle factors, which detailed a chronology of events of the alleged communist terrorist organization and a list of names of individuals. Executive Order number 70 institutionalized the whole of nation approach as core of the state's security policy, weaponized laws, policies and programs to target and profile individuals and organizations that advocate for social justice, human rights, and the protection of marginalized communities. This special report, surrender of former CFO members, memorandum, lists at least 32 individuals and their respective organizations are development workers, church leaders, a lawyer, community organizers, youth and women leaders. The so-called order of battle is proof of terrorist tagging as systematic government policy where innocent individuals are marked for surveillance, harassment, and potentially fatal consequences. It threatens not only the safety of security of those named, but also undermines the basic democratic rights to freedom of expression and association. The document paints a dangerously misleading narrative, falsely equating legitimate political dissent and advocacy for marginalized communities with terrorism, a gross violation of the rights of free speech and due process. The use of Executive Order number 70 to create lists to endanger lives of people cannot be justified under any pretext. We call for an end to the weaponization of the legal frameworks against those who are simply fulfilling their roles in society as advocates for justice and peace. The criminalization of their work must cease immediately, and all charges should be dismissed to allow NGOs to continue their critical work in serving the marginalized communities. We stand in solidarity with those unjustly targeted in the documents and call for an immediate investigation into the misuse of EO 70 and all related actions. It is imperative that laws and executive orders be used to protect, not to persecute the people. We urge the government to cease the practice of profiling and targeting individuals based on their legitimate engagement in advocacy and respect and uphold the fundamental and basic rights enshrined in the Constitution. The project exceeds the gray list, memorandum, and the secretive nature of the documents only serve to reinforce the fact that these measures are being used to further political agendas, not uphold the rule of law or protect national security. The threat posed here is the lives and liberty of those who are committed to supporting the vulnerable, advocating for peace, and defending human rights. I would also like to mention that aside from Kadwami, there are other NGOs in Northern Luzon who are facing the same criminalization because of the weaponization of law. We have the case of Marceline Pilala, a sari-sari store owner She is a member of the Mountain Province Youth Alliance in her youth, a former substitute public school teacher, a farmer, and a storekeeper. She was charged with violation of Sections 7 and 8 of the Republic Act of 10168, or the Terrorism Financing Prevention and Suppression Act. There is also the case of the Cordillera Disaster Response and Services, or Cordis RDS, who is also working with the Citizens Disaster Response Center, or CDRC, whose bank account was arbitrarily frozen by the Anti-Money Laundering Council in May 2024. There is also the case of the Cordillera People's activists, which under the Duterte regime, using the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020, in the vagueness of the definition of the terrorism, the ATC, or the Anti-Terrorism Council, arbitrarily designate the 4 Cordillera indigenous activists as terrorists and froze their bank accounts. And just recently, the case of Ms. Sara Abelian Aliquez, a former board member of Kadwami. She has a standing warrant of arrest, which arose from her case of arson filed against her in 2017, which was already dismissed. We demand that all efforts to weaponize the law against innocent citizens be condemned, reversed, and corrected in favor of a fair and just society for all. Thank you very much.
Yan, next naman po, pakinggan natin yung mga case respondents dun sa kasong terrorist financing di umano. Nandito po si Ms. Petronila Guzman, retired Kadwami staff at secretary ng Board of Trustees ng Kadwami.
Magandang umaga ho sa ating lahat. Ako po si Petronil G. Guzman. I am fondly called by my family, friends, and colleagues as Pet. I am an Ilocana, hails from Gimba, Nueva Ecija. I am diligent, respectful, and dedicated to my work as development worker. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in agriculture in 1981. I spent the longest years of my career working for and alongside the marginalized sectors in Northern Luzon when I chose the path to be a development worker until my retirement in 2021. I was a staff of Kadwami for 30 years and a current member of the Board of Trustees. Being with Kadwami, I was able to lead different programs in different project phases. These are the research, training, and organizing programs and project development programs, including being an administrative officer of Kadwami. When I retired in 2021, I continued my commitment for development work by becoming a volunteer in the works of Kadwami. Now, in October 2024, I and 2 others were slapped with terrorism financing complaints by officers of PNP, CIDG based in San Fernando City, La Union. The complaints were filed at the Department of Justice in Metro Manila based on untruthful claims from alleged rebel returnee. I perceive my case as a threat to my liberty and safety. I am not alone in this fight. There are a lot of us who went through the turmoil of being falsely accused. Sana ay matapos na ang gawa-gawang kasong ito na pinapataw sa amin. Sana ay wala nang kakasuhan pa ng gantong klaseng charge at sana po ay madismiss na ang aming kaso. Yung lang po at maraming salamat.
Thank you, Tita Pet. Yung isa din pong respondent sa kasong terrorist financing ay si Ms. Mia Sapanta. Isa po siyang church worker sa Ilocos Regional Ecumenical Council.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mia Sapanta, known as Mia among my colleagues and the community I serve. I am a Ilocana lay worker from Iglesia Filipina Independiente. I dedicate my life as peasant advocate. Serving communities that are affected by different disasters and are burdened by the socio-economic ill of our society. Aside from advocacy work, I am known as devoted mother of three and a kind of tita, lola, to those know me as I am, identifies with the youth, always shares latest trend celebrity updates. More importantly, I always share my insight on local socioeconomic and political issues that affect peasant communities. Being an Ilocana in the heart of Marcos Bastion, I volunteered for the church that were providing services for the poor in Ilocanos communities. However, in 2005, I was forced to take a break after my mother became ill. After my mother's death, I returned to my fashion and follow Christian mission and serving the poor and needy. I eventually became part of the ecumenical scenes in the Ilocos region, working with different denominations as part of my advocacy work for my peasant communities. During my years in ecumenical work, I also become part of the Solidarity Peasant Against Exploitation or Stop Exploitation, a partner of NGOs like Kadwami and ICRED. As part of its social welfare desk, providing services to the disaster-stricken communities through relief, distribution, operation, and construction of potable water system. But as years goes by, age took a toll of my body. I was forced to lessen my time fulfilling my advocacy work. My hypertension and other sickness appeared. In 2018, I decided to retire after reaching senior years, but still provide assistance to our organization from time to time, despite experiencing with hypertension and other illness. This October 2024,